Ladies of Reddit, what was your oh crap I am wearing a skirt dress aren't I moment? One time in high school I was rushing down the stairwell trying to make it to my play practice after school and I took a massive tumble down the entire flight of stairs. I wasn't hurt, mostly embarrassed, so I jumped up and tried to laugh it off. This huge dude walked over to check on me and he started brushing me off, which I thought was weird. Turns out my skirt had flown up over my waist and somehow tucked itself into my underwear during my fall, and he was trying to pull it back down before too many people could catch a look at my bare butt. He was a real hero. At my brother's wedding, the girl who caught the bouquet was hoisted up by her large male cousin. Well, while he was lifting her, her tight skirt rolled up the sides of her body, revealing her green thong and bare butt to all the guests. Luckily she was a guest of the bride. I had to walk up this flight of stairs. The problem was that the architect designed the stairs so that in an effort to be stylistic, the panel between each step was a clear plastic-like material. People could also walk under the staircase. No elevator in sight. I am positive the architect was a man who didn't normally have to think of these things. Rephrase, I am positive the architect was a man who thinks about these things way too much. I was in a sew my own clothes phase, and the easiest thing to make is a skirt. Unfortunately I had no idea that the weight of fabric is important, so when I hopped out of the truck at a gas station a passing semi blew my skirt up. My ex-brother-in-law called me breezy for a long time after that. There were several passing semis that day. Many times at work I've had to get on my hands and knees under a desk to plug in machinery or sort out some cables on equipment. I've never paid attention to the fact that my butt is just sticking out and not one guy I work with ever mentioned it. Thankfully it was brought to my attention by a student working here and now I try to be a little bit more careful. Should have just worn shorts underneath and stuck gargly eyes to your bum. I went to a play with a friend and, during intermission, we got up to go use the bathroom. I was wearing a fairly short dress and heels, a combo I wasn't really a master of quite yet. I took one step down the stairs in the auditorium and my ankle just kinda collapsed. I fell right on my butt and, halfway down, I realized I was wearing a dress. I slammed my knees together mid-fall, which meant I landed on the ground posed like an anime girl, but no one got a look at my goodies, so that's a plus. Stairs are truly the #1 enemy of skirts and dresses. Did a flying Tarzan leap off of a platform with a rope swing, complete with George of the Jungle yell, as a crowd looked on. Never have I been so glad to be wearing underwear. Hey, watch out for that tree. As a prank gift for a co-worker who was expecting a baby, we built a wall of diapers across the front of his cubicle. I was managing the project from the inside, shoring up the structure with cardboard and tape. We finished, and I was surrounded by walls, a 5-foot high bookshelf and the diaper wall that could not be touched. No problem, I'll just climb over the bookshelf, I thought, and then realized I was wearing a skirt. Of course everyone in the office was gathered around to see how I'd get out. I refused to exit until they all walked away. I went on a bucking bronco at the Christmas party last year. I was so focused on falling off gracefully I didn't give any thought to actually getting on and just vaulted onto it, giving everyone watching a flash of my underwear as I did. I did fall off without flashing though. Ha, I actually made this mistake last weekend. I didn't check the weather before I left for an outdoor event. Just peeked outside and saw blue skies and sun. And we've been switching between 70 and 40 degrees all week, so I thought, perfect day for a sundress. Right? Wrong, it was 60 degrees and windy as frick. The entire walk there I'm trying to hold down my dress to keep from showing cheeks. Right before I walk in, a huge gust blows my dress up so high, it covers my freaking eyes. I freak out, trying to pull it down but can't find the skirt edge in my panic. I end up pulling my top down, exposing my tee instead. So yeah, good times. I am involved in many theater productions. I normally get longer skirt dresses to wear, but this show was different. I was wearing a shorter skirt and wasn't used to it yet. During a performance, I had to sit in a chair facing the audience. I guess my legs were a little more open than I thought, because when I went backstage, the director ran up to me and said I basically flashed the entire audience. Never been more embarrassed before in my life. I was visiting this awesome 12th century castle, but didn't account for the windiest day of the year. Wore my cutest sundress. Did not wear my cutest undies, which is what the other tourists ended up seeing a lot more of than I would have liked. Not a lady, but one time I was at an ABC party, anything but clothes. I was wearing mostly duct tape, but there was a cute girl wearing a sundress there, obviously breaking the rules of the party. I'm not sure how I did it, but I convinced her to switch clothes with me. We snuck upstairs and started making out. I offered my duct tape suit, but she said I had to dress first. I play along and put it on. She was just about to put on my duct tape suit. I was in no rush when my friend and owner of the house enters the room with lots of her fellow friends. That's when they caught me wearing a dress alongside a half-naked woman. Not really sure if I'm proud of this moment or not. Definitely be proud. I was giving a presentation in a college class while wearing a loose skirt. At the end of the presentation, my professor told me I got an A on that part of the project, so I did a little jump for joy. My skirt floated up and I wasn't wearing anything else underneath. Kinda embarrassing. Then you got an A. I was at a concert and wearing a cute little dress. It's stadium seating and we were near the back. In order to get a drink you had to go out of the pavilion and over to the beer tent. So rather than make everybody in my row stand up, I just decided to hop the few rows of seats behind me. As I got progressively more drunk, I'm sure I got sloppier in my approach in climbing these rows of seats. Didn't dawn on me until the third or fourth time I scaled the seats in my tiny little dress Commando that the reason for everyone's stares and nudges was my blatant display of vagina. We had uniforms in middle school, and one day I was wearing a jumper with a huge flowy skirt. There was a park behind our school with a stage about 6 feet off the ground, and we went there during recess. All of the kids were playing on the stage, and when it was time to go, every kid started jumping off. So, wanting to be cool and fit in, I decided to jump off the stage too, forgetting I had the skirt on. Everyone got a show that day. I love doing this, and will always do it. I also always wear shorts or leggings under. I live in a busy East Coast city, so talking to strangers isn't common. It was a sunny but windy day, and a giant man started walking quickly towards me while yelling, Miss, over here." I pretended I didn't hear him and kept walking. Very soon after, he was standing very closely behind me and tapped me on the shoulder. I was about to grab my mace when he said, "I'm so sorry, this is probably really embarrassing for you, but your skirt is caught and..." I looked behind me and sure enough, my skirt somehow caught itself on my handbag and my bare butt was available for the whole city to see. I quickly fixed it, thanked the man, and he said before walking off awkwardly, "Yeah, I'm sorry. There was really no easy way to let you know without seeming like a creep." What a great guy. First and only time I got pulled over for speeding, I was coming back from work. However, at the time I worked at an upscale specialty retail store and my work outfit was a black blouse, a very tight grey pencil skirt and black heels. This damned skirt was cut perfectly and fit great so long as I was standing. It was just on the border of professional yet very sexy, kinda how people like saleswomen to look when they're spending thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. The unfortunate part was that it didn't stretch all that much, so to drive comfortably without my knees pinned together I had to hike it way the heck up, effectively sitting bare-assed underwear on the car seat. So of course I get pulled over and immediately have to do the mad scramble to pull my skirt back down so I'm not flashing the cop when he comes up to my window. Honestly, I'm not sure if I fixed myself in time, but I did get the smallest ticket possible, so that was nice. I've never gotten out of a ticket because I was wearing a skirt. Every time this happens to me I get the maximum fine and a snarky "so please cover your penis." Frickin' double standards. I once was in a group project in school with all females except me. They decided on a skit and decided to genderflip the roles of the source we got inspiration from. So I had to wear a dress, paint my nails and stuff. In the middle I dropped my prop. That's when my entire class learned I had a nice butt under the baggy jeans. I didn't realize it until after the presentation. Culture. It was a trap. Girls wanted to see your butt, and they got away with it. My husband's client was sponsoring a PGA Tour event in Tampa. I got to fly down and hang out at the resort for a week. One of the perks was an all-access pass to the 18th hole lounge that had free food and drinks. It was like 90 degrees, so I was wearing a sundress with a thong underneath. I went inside to get food and there was a long line at one end of the buffet. I was starving and I noticed that there was another buffet on the other side with no line. I decided to cut behind some tables to get to the other side. As I walked over, I stepped onto an air conditioner vent right as the fan turned on. My dress flew clean over my head. I squealed and tried to press it back down. I looked up to see if anyone had seen anything and my husband's client's 14-year-old son was staring at me with the biggest smile on his face. He will remember that the rest of his life. I rarely wear skirts dresses and I sit cross-legged in my chair at work a lot, and one day I was dressed up in a dress for an event and had to go to work after, and without realizing it I was sitting cross-legged with my panties showing. Oops. Got off the school bus early with a friend to go swimming in the river, have a nice dip in my underwear and then put clothes back on underwear. Start walking home. Cross bridge. Realize I have to climb style over wall in mini skirt with no underwear on. No biggie. Super quiet rural area. Then realize that a group of soldiers on some training exercise are walking past as I climbing up with the breeze hitting my bare ass. Could either own the moment or be incredibly awkward about the whole thing. Being British, I clearly chose the latter. No better way to salute any military man. Good for you. Man of Reddit, but at a friend's birthday party circumstances led to me wearing a friend's dress, which I then wrestled somebody in. I stood over him in victory, forgetting that I was wearing boxers. No better way to establish dominance than a fruit basket to the face. Man, it's bad enough the dude got beat by a guy in a dress, but then to have you display your beans to him. Photographer at a wedding. I was wearing a long dress which I quickly realized was not very practical as I had to a lot of bending and kneeling. So I said frick it and hiked my dress way up so I could properly to get the shots. One of the guests whispered that I was not very ladylike, but I got the job done. I will find you and hire you for my wedding photographer. Anyone who is willing to go that far is worth my money. At one of my old jobs we had a family day where they brought in these huge bouncy houses. My brother and I had a race through one, ending with a huge slide. I threw myself into it and slid down as fast as I could to try and beat him, but I was wearing a skirt which promptly flew up into my face, exposing my underwear to my direct supervisor who just happened to be standing at the bottom of the slide. We were all embarrassed. I was on a trip with my husband to this big family reunion in his hometown. Went to get dressed that morning and I realized I had not put my panties in my luggage. I had a choice of wearing the panties I wore the day before, or nothing. I chose nothing because wearing yesterday's panties seemed gross. Since the gathering is outdoors and it is warm, I wear a cute sundress. It's not that short, but it is a sundress. We get to the party. We pull up in hubby's SUV. There is a crowd of his relatives right where we park. I get out of the seat of the SUV and my skirt sticks and pulls up as I slide down. The full Monty to several relatives standing there bug-eyed. I never told my husband why his cousins were staring at us. For some reason I kept reading your name as Longlglady. I was watching a few guys in my school's jazz band play outside and all of a sudden oh frick wind. Instead of having a coy oopsie hahi moment, I freaked out and fell over because I was wearing heels. That was fun. It's okay. Those kids are pros at seeing pee already. Band kids bred like rabbits. Was at a house party, and I was wearing a simple summer dress. Well, I go into the garage and this guy has like 10 dirt bikes. I love dirt bikes. Then I go into the backyard, which was a couple acres, and he had a whole little racetrack built into the woods behind his house. He let a couple guys take the bikes out and I was so pee I was in a dress and sandals. They looked like they were having so much fun, and I was stuck just watching. I did end up getting invited back to the house, and made sure to dress appropriately. Got covered in mud, and it was awesome. I don't know why, but this comment made me happy. Have a nice day. I was in high school and had bought an adorable pink skirt with white flowers. I went to the mall to meet up with a friend. She was taking longer than expected and I went to the restroom. I come out of the bathroom and all sorts of guys are giving me looks. I'm starting to think this skirt is magical. I wander around for 10 minutes waiting for my friend, garnering many glances from both sexes. Finally my friend shows up and I feel her hand yank my skirt down. While in the restroom I somehow managed to tuck the skirt into my undies and everyone had been staring at my underwear. Ever since then when wearing a skirt I make sure it's not tucked into my underwear before parading around like a peacock. I'm a guy and I have an oh crap I'm wearing a dress moment. We were in high school just being ridiculous and all found some costume bin and everyone started dressing up. I was a little late to the party and got stuck with the last thing, a blue velvet dress. The night goes on and we eventually wind up at Walmart, you know, cause that's a cool thing to do as a high school kid. There are those large yellow bollards, the ones that are about 4.5 feet tall, out front of the store and naturally I had the urge to leapfrog the thing and jump over it. Turns out ankle length dresses and tall bollards don't mix very well. I ended up jumping it, getting the dress caught, flipping upside down and getting stuck. And of course none of my friends helped me up and laughed their heads off. The school I used to work at was 2 stories. My classroom was on the 2nd floor right next to the exit. The stairs for that exit were just metal slats. I made sure when I wore dresses that I went up the stairs inside the school so there were no mishaps. But one day there was a fire drill that I forgot about, so I wore a dress that day. Oops. Luckily my class was the first out and last in since we were closest to the door. I played laser tag as part of my wedding ceremony. The venue thought it was a good idea to put the wedding party in with about 20 little boys from some kid's 8th birthday party. It was my first time playing laser tag and I am not used to wearing dresses. Yeah. Just after 6th grade, family, my foster parents and siblings, had gone to visit the grandparents for 2 weeks and I got to stay home alone for the first time because I had a friend who was having surgery in what would have been 5 days into the vacation. I had never had the house to myself so I did stuff like play my music really loud, dip into my parents' stash and get high. I took a long bubble bath, shaved my legs with my sister's razor, used her bath oil, that kind of thing. I was trying on my older sister's tops trying to find one that would go with this really cute skirt I had just bought. I picked out this low-cut ecru colored blouse that went really good with my sheer black thigh highs and favorite heels. Then I borrowed a gold chain from my sister that went perfectly with my favorite hoop earrings. I had just finished putting on this awesome pale pink gloss when there was a knock on the door. I had a friend coming over so we could go to a party together but that was hours and hours away. I go to the door and it's a guy from my school. They're selling chocolate bars for band. I said I would buy a couple, cause it's chocolate, right? So I go grab my purse and dig through it to find the money my parents had left me and I drop my keys, which fall behind me. I turn, bend over and pick them up to find the guy, who had already been staring weirdly at me, with a really odd expression. That's when I realized that I was wearing my miniskirt without panties and had given him an eyeful, which I would regretfully hear about for a long time. Did I mention I'm a boy? Holy god, plot twist. Not exactly on topic, but I did realize one morning while I was walking into church that I didn't have a bra on, though I was wearing the rest of my intended clothing. Sat at a metro station in Spain. Normally when I sit down I don't cross my legs because of desks or dinner tables to the job to hide my business. However, out of habit I sat down with my legs uncrossed and noticed when I saw the person in front of me staring. Awkward moment, to say the least. Many years ago was wearing a cigarette skirt. It's basically long and thin. It's been raining and I need to get over a puddle. I forget I'm wearing a skirt that hampers moving one's legs for leaping and try to jump over the puddle. I basically just jump right into the middle of it in my heels. Lovely. So graceful. I own several pairs of extra short spandex shorts to go under my dresses and skirts just to avoid these moments. I'm tall with a long torso, so dresses tend to fall especially short on me. That said, I bought a dress once for a social ballroom party that was longer than usual. It felt at almost my knee. I was so excited. I didn't have to wear my shorts to the party, except that once I'd had a bit to drink and the dancing was in full swing. I lost my inhibitions a bit and happily accepted my instructor's invitation to dance what I think was a quick step. That night is a bit fuzzy. One fast turn later I realized that okay, maybe the dress still wasn't quite long enough to dance in without shorts. Luckily I, and everyone else, was too drunk to care. It's never been mentioned, but I do wear shorts under that dress now. This actually happened on the weekend. My boyfriend was giving me a piggyback ride because drunk me wasn't moving fast enough in heels. Everything was fun and great until some guys behind us screamed nice butt and I realized my skirt had ridden up all the way to my lower back. I probably have a million more I've flashed half of downtown Toronto stories, but so does everyone else who's ever worn a skirt dress in the giant condo wind tunnel that is my city. Not a story about myself, but about a teacher in elementary school. We had a piece of playground equipment that about 5 people would hang onto a circular bar over their heads, and someone would push one of them to make them fly around in circles. This teacher that the story is about thought it would be a good idea to go for a spin on it while wearing a sundress. Needless to say, that recess in 2nd grade was the time I found out what a thong is. I was at an anime convention and it was pretty crowded. While I was getting off the escalator a guy rushed past me and I did one of those spin to the side to avoid hitting someone moves. I was super proud of myself and I looked back to see a security guard wide-eyed. I had totally forgotten I had on a shorter than normal frilly dress that blew up when I twirled. I saw that same guard later and we exchanged finger guns. Not so much an oh crap, I'm wearing a skirt moment, as a oh crap, I don't know how this skirt works moment. Netball in junior school, probably around 8 years old and netball skirt which fastened in a really obscure way equals embarrassment. It sort of was one piece of material and you wrapped it around and one side slid into the other and you pulled it tight and fastened it. Well, I wasn't happy with how tight it was and started panicking it would fall down. This is all happening mid-game. So I start trying to quickly tighten it, which is exactly the moment someone decided to throw me the ball. I'm the most unpopular kid in school. This never happens. So instead of getting hit in the face by the ball, my brain decides letting go of my skirt, which still isn't fastened, to catch the ball is clearly the best option here. So this happens in slow motion. My skirt unwraps and falls to the floor. My brain abandons catching the ball to look down at my skirt. The ball hits me in the face and laughter erupts everywhere as I try not to cry from the pain embarrassment. And quickly but clumsily try to retrieve my skirt and fasten it again. Underwear wasn't exactly a fashion-based concern at that age, but I'm pretty sure my underwear was really awful compared to the other girls, so that only added to effect. Oh crap dude, I'm sorry. Went for a pedicure, ended up getting a 19-year-old guy to do it. Thankfully it was a long hippie skirt so I could tuck it in. One night I was minding keeping company some siblings, 12 and 14 years old, at their place while their parents were busy for the evening. We lived near each other and knew each other well. I needed to reach something up on a high shelf in the night, so I stood on a wheelie chair that was nearby while the 14-year-old boy stood in front of me holding it so I wouldn't tip over. While doing this, I needed a little more reach for grip. So, without even thinking about it, I lifted a leg and put a foot on the boy's shoulder to push myself a bit higher with. It was only after doing this that I remembered I was wearing a short skirt, really thin knickers, and he had been looking up to make sure I was steady. Frick my life, I swear. Sir and mom, I wasn't trying to seduce your boy. I went to City Museum in St. Louis. Great place and really fun for kids of literally all ages. Also boasting floors of glass in some places. I've never run so fast in my life. I fainted in high school. I went to a Catholic school so I wore a tiny kilt. When I woke up someone had kindly put me in recovery position but not pulled down my skirt, which revealed to everyone my granny panties and the wings of my pad. It was windy out. I knew it was windy out. I was crossing the street. A big gust of wind came, blew the back of my skirt right up, long enough for the woman behind me to notice I was wearing boy shorts with abortions written right across the butt. She then pointed out that my underwear was inappropriate. I was going to explain it was a banned Dayglow abortions, but she was wearing NASCAR pajama pants in public, so it obviously wasn't worth my time. Boy shorts with abortions written right across the butt. Peterson. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.